Hello everyone, I am Alicia. Welcome to my channel, and for today we're going to be talking about hair color and identity. And this is I'm not part of that conversation with the naturals and the wig girlies. I never really like being in that conversation. There's a lot of projection going on, and I'm not saying that people aren't telling the truth, but just the nuances. And sometimes if some people aren't healed enough and they don't want to do it, they just don't want to do it. But at the same time, some people want boundaries and they don't want to hear about your hair problems when you don't really care. That's why I'm like, I don't want to be in that. I already dealt with it in close relationships and stuff like that, with the whole trying to give advice and people be like, oh, I'm not doing that. Then don't do it. Shut up. Girl, I'm triggering myself. Welcome to the day in my life, man. Listen. So I'm going to be talking about natural versus altered identity, why some colors feel off, and seasonal harmony and emotional attachment to hair. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about for this video. Okay, please like and subscribe, and feel free to visit my website for all other information about me. I have a storefront of everything that I have with me with my travels. Link is in the description. So natural hair versus altered identity. So growing up, my hair was permed, but it wasn't like my hair was permed into an inch of its life. I had got perms twice a year. So with all of that, I still was exposed to it, but it wasn't like a every 2 week, every month thing. I was exposed to my hair in general. But with that being said, when I went into the Navy, we had to cut our hair anyway. So I cut my hair off, and it was still permed, but I cut my hair off into a bob. And by the time I got out of boot camp, girl, for me, I'm like, it's like so irritating and it's so silly. And it's like my hair is too short because I got a short neck. So, you at that time, it was like the collar and your hair couldn't be lower than your collar type shit. And it was like this whole nuance between it. And then the texture of your hair, not the texture of your hair. And I remember I was like, my hair's so short anyway, it don't matter, I want to cut it all off. I was like, let me actually get micro braids for the first and last time in my life, because I am not sitting there taking all of those small micro braids out. And I'm talking about, this is like 2010. So those micro braids was small. So I'm like, yeah, girl, I'll let it sit there, wash it, condition it, let it grow out. And when it grows out to a certain length, I'll be more than comfortable just to cut it off, just cut it off, and I will be completely natural. It was like the weekend, or I think the day after the 4th of July, and most of the salon called out sick. So I was like, you know what, I am tired of this. I'm not gonna deal no more with permed hair. And I didn't want perm hair since I was a kid. Like, I did not want my hair to be permed. It is what it is. So I went and got some dye, because like I said, I had an issue with my hair being, in my earlier video, I had an issue with my hair being like this brown color. Like, it doesn't seem like it in a camera, but in person, people that know that, especially when the sunlight hits it, it turns into that brownish, like dark, light brownish, ashy, with a red tint undertone to it. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, let me just cut all this shit off. And I remember I was in the bathroom. I washed my hair, conditioning so I could see where everything was at. And I just sat there and I cut all the permed hair off. And I've been natural ever since. Pretty much since I'll give myself this, like pretty much since I've been outside of my parents' household, I have pretty much been natural. Give or take 2 months when I was actually in boot camp and I had the bob. But what is 2 months compared to 20 years. No, 15 years. Yes, closer to that. But anywho, this is my personal opinion. I say perm, and that's pretty much the closest that I got. I did have a whole thing with feed-in braids and stuff like that, especially when I was working on 2 jobs and also being in school and then having a job and all the things. So times in my life where I was super busy, I did go and get my hair braided constantly. Now, but when it comes to wigs, the only wig I ever wore was like when it was really cold out, and pretty much I used it as a hat because I would never have to take it off because it's a wig. And especially when I first moved up to like up north, I just could not take the cold. I could not take it. So girl, I put that wig on. It was like a short pixie cut type wig, nothing crazy or anything like that. It was way shorter than like my real hair, but I was just like, is that crazy? I wore it as a hat to keep myself warm, but I digress. I changed my look up a little bit, and that's the only thing that I've done. And I only worn it, I think, like maybe 4, 5, maybe 6 times. But other than that's it. And there's levels to the altering of it all. So the extensions, the weaves, the wigs. I like the wigs, like the wiggies, the ones that be doing all the stuff. I'm not that person. That's not my ministry, never been. I'm not doing it. Girl, I don't even have my ears pierced yet. So no, that's not my jam. Like for me, I feel like it was a lot of work. I would like to see other people do it. You do it, you look beautiful. I love seeing all your beauty in my eyes. Okay, all in my eyeballs, all the beautifulness. You happy, you spinning around, you got your hair done. You know when you get your hair done, period, it's just like this glow that comes from like just within, that you just like, you feel like your skin, is it me? Every time I get my hair done or every time I do my hair, I feel like my skin clears up. I look way more vibrant. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's like people messing with your scalp and your blood circulation is circulating and you just look more just prim and done and just ecstatic. I don't know. Or it could just be your emotions and where you are, and you know you look good and you put this energy into yourself and it's just exuding outward to the point that you physically look better. It could be that too. But I feel like it's a very nuanced thing. Yes, you can do whatever you want to do, but at the detriment of the health of your body, anything that is coming from your body, your extension of your body, like we could say your nails, hair, eyelashes. For me personally, when you're doing that and you're actually harming yourself, you're pulling yourself further away from being beautiful. And it just, even if you're just acknowledging what you have, altering it to a certain extent, to me, there is some, if not mental issues, depending on how bad it is, there is a lack of self-worth, in my personal opinion. Like I said, you can straighten your hair, you can manipulate, but once you start doing stuff and it's damaging your hair, it's damaging your skin, it's damaging your eyelashes, it's damaging anything on your body, anything it's too much. That's not good. That is not good. I don't care what nobody says. It's not good once you're harming yourself for a look. Not to, because when you're wanting to enhance yourself, you use what you have and you enhance it. You're not hurting yourself. You might be manipulating or doing other things of that nature, but to destroy the basis of you and neglect the basis of you and what makes you, that's a problem. And I don't care what nobody says about it. That's a problem. So for this section here why colors feel off or why some colors feel off. And a lot of it has to do with your skin tone overall, but then also your undertone. It does create sometimes a drowning effect where it can, the color of your hair can even overpower your natural complexion and or conflict where it's pulling all of the color out of the base of your skin tone, and it's making you seem to be a little bit more on the green side or even gray side, for example. So this is more like a color theory type of thing, but it also depends on if you're like in what type of lighting you're in also, because when you're in the sun, especially when you're in the sun, you're glowing, but it does really depend on what you have around you and what's highlighting you, and those colors bounce off and people's eyes see and perceive certain things. So for example, you could have, let's just say you have a little bit of like hyperpigmentation around here, and certain colors are going to pull that warmness out of you, so it makes it seem a little bit more drab, more dull, and then it'll concentrate on that undertone under your eyes or your, I guess, your hyperpigmentation, and then it will over exaggerate that. So there's nuances between hair color and things like that, because I was surprised that I had a hair color that the lady said I could go lighter, but I'm like, I'm just leaving it alone, because I do all the bleaching and all that stuff just to get like one hair color lighter than this. Even she said it, she's like, it really is not even worth it. So it is what it is, and it's also just one less thing for me to think about and or worry about, okay? Because I'm like, girl, let me be. And I do that part. That's part of my personality. I like to just be at peace, okay? Leave me alone, okay? When it's time to prim and proper yourself up, then, you know, I'll do it. But just wanting to exist in beauty, that's where I want to be. I want to just exist in it. That's why for almost the last year, I just started wearing makeup and stuff like that again, because I was so focused on getting my skin clear, getting my hormones together, getting my body together, where, you know, when your hormone balance is happening, I'm not saying your body's attacking itself, but you have a bunch of barriers to stop you from getting to your goals because of your hormones. And we're going to talk about seasonal harmony. And the thing about it, seeing the girls in the burgundies and some of the like the honey colors, especially like ombre, and that's another thing too. When you're doing ombre, you still got that color or that natural color of hair that is surrounding your face, but a lot of the color is down here, so that also alters and gives you a little bit more wiggle room. Like, as long as you got like the color that best enhances you up here around your face, you're good, because the other color is a little bit further down, if that makes sense. And then it also has that gradient effect. But with that, even with seasonal harmony, I love it, especially like fall colors, just because it has such a deepness and an earthiness to it. It's not like, it's just so freaking beautiful. Like, just the colors be coloring fall season and stuff like that, like the fall colors and the fall hair. Like I said, like the burgundies, like the honeys, like those real natural earthy. Sometimes people put a little bit of that purple in there. You want to get a little bit like whimsical and stuff like that. It's like a very that burgundy is like that little hint, when it hits the light, it looks like a purple, you know what I mean? Or like that red, not like a firecracker red, but a very muted burgundy type of, there's different variations of burgundy, but still, those, eat them up there. But still, even when you're talking about like these colors and things like, that's one thing I will say about wigs, is that you can switch out the colors and stuff like that, and it's not permanent. But they do have like gel, like not gels, but like waxes and stuff like that for your hair, your actual hair, to be a different color temporarily. So there is that. There is that. And the last part is the emotional attachment to hair. I understand it. I really do. But it's almost like the same thing that I'm going to allude to when it comes to the natural versus altered, because there's another whole conversation, especially on TikTok, where people are like, oh, hairdressers do cut off too much hair, which yeah, I can agree to. I've seen it a few times myself, but there's also a point of being so attached to your hair, and this is my self-worth. What this hair looks like to other people, even if it's not healthy, what I think people are going to think of me when my hair is longer or whatever. What is that giving me? What do I think that I am getting? Because once again, I have another video before these videos, but it's pretty much what I was saying in that is the perception and what you think people are perceiving you as, when it's your perception and that person's perception that you think you understand. Both of them don't necessarily have to be what the reality is, if that makes sense. And there's just this whole thing. It's the psychology of it all, because that's why beauty is such a big industry, because it does play on your psyche, it does play on your worth, it also plays on being accepted by others, how you are perceived, how you think you're perceived. There's so many levels to it, and when you really step back from it, there is no stopping. Okay, there is no stopping. So I understand emotional attachment to your hair, to my hair. But for me, I did the big chop, and with the big chop, there was times where I felt ugly. I felt unsure about myself. I felt, oh my God, I see so much of my face. I see so much of my face, and my face there's nothing to cover my face. There's nothing around my face. I'm just looking at straight up face. And also how I noticed how much time I spent showering in the mirror. When I did the big chop, that's when I noticed, and I was like, oh, I spent a lot of time on my hair, and I just had a ball. I spent so much time. I'm like, I was in and out. Like the first time I took a shower and washed my hair, when I got out, I was like, I got back in the shower and stood there and washed myself again, because I'm like, why am I getting out the shower? Like, this happened like maybe 3 times before. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? But yeah, so how much energy I was putting into my hair, how much energy I was like, how attached I was to my hair. And I didn't even like that my hair, because I always wanted my hair to be natural, even as a younger girl. I was like, this is crazy. I'm like, I can't believe it that I spent this much time observing my hair, looking at my hair, fixing my hair, going to the bathroom to look at my hair, to make sure that it's like this, it's not sticking up like that, if it just all the things. And now I'm like, I don't care. I feel like locks is the best for me, because the way I travel, the way I move, the things around, like all the things. Like, I'll do my hair, but all I gotta do is really focus on doing my hair for 2 days every month, and I'm good. So I think there's things that people, and I'm trying to hold space and to have grace and be kind, because not everybody had the same upbringing as me. Not everybody And I'm not trying to judge people, because I feel like it's a little mean and nasty to judge people who do have these inferiority complexes when it comes to their appearance, because you don't know how they was raised, you don't know what they was exposed to. And I get, this is the only thing I do get, when you do stand up for yourself and people like, oh, it's just deflection. Some people be like, oh, you're broke, that's why you have natural hair, stuff like that. Like, it is what it is. Like, it's just deflection at the end of the day. And I get people defending themselves and stuff like that, but like I said, that's why I don't get into the conversation, because there's so many nuances. And just a tidbit, that's why I became more comfortable with even doing social media or even talking to the camera and doing stuff like this, because I fully understand and I can clock it and see when somebody is projecting. So those are the nuances in between. If you listen, and that's another thing, people don't listen. I listen, I hear you, probably more than you would like, because once you listen to people long enough, they tell you what's really their problem. They will, and they'll show you, and it's up to you to believe them. All right, so give space for yourself, give space for other people, especially when they look like you. We cannot judge other people at the end of the day when we don't know what they've been through. And if you, it's okay for you to give your opinion. For me, I'm like, I'm all natural. I feel like, when I say natural, I mean anything like a perm. Like, I feel like feed-in braids and stuff like that, except for the braiding hair, is not good for you. But the wigs and weaves, the perms, yeah, like, it is really hurting you, and it keeps on showing it's hurting you. You can always do stuff, but when you do too much of anything, it's bad for you. It's also a balance, you know what I'm saying? But that's all I have to say for right now. I will see y'all next week. Also, subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know what you want to talk about next, all right? See y'all next week.